Let's take a moment to review two groups of pronouns, reflexive pronouns and reciprocal pronouns. As you can see, the reciprocal pronouns, this is a very small category. There's just two in this category, and they're actually quite similar. And in the reflexive pronoun category, we have always the same ending. So in the singular, it's self all the way through. And then in the plural, it's selves. Not much different there. Okay. So as long as you can recognize that, you can at least categorize them, and we'll look at some examples very briefly also just to see how we can use them. First of all then, reflexive pronouns are used in one of two ways. In the first example here, we have reflexive pronouns being used to refer back to the subject. And what happens here is that the pronoun is the object of the verb, so blamed is the verb. Blamed who? Well, we blamed ourselves. And then ourselves is exactly the same as we. In other words, the object and the subject are the same. So we can write subject equals object. We can change the word order a little bit, but that's the essential idea here. So know yourself. Who is going to know? Well, it's you. You is the implied subject. You could even say you know yourself. And we see the same pattern. Yourself equals you. Sometimes reflexive pronouns are also called intensive or emphatic pronouns, and they're exactly the same pronouns, but the function has changed a little bit. So in this case, herself is not the object of the verb, so ate is the verb, and she's not eating herself. Instead, there's a little bit more emphasis on the subject. So we could have left herself out. We could have said Colleen ate all the candies, but we really want to put the blame on Colleen, so we say Colleen herself. And so that adds a little bit of emphasis, intensifies things just a little bit. So those are the two ways in which we can use reflexive pronouns, and don't be too confused by the terminology. This second way of describing what reflexive pronouns do, this is not some new pronoun, it's just different words for a different usage. One final point about reflexive pronouns, watch out for this expression where you add myself to a noun or a pronoun. So if you say she and myself or Sam and myself, normally that's incorrect. And you could do this little test to see if you need myself in this instance. If you were to say the bridal cake was made by myself, that would sound awkward. If you said it was made by me, then it would sound okay. So just see what you need, whether it's myself, me, or I. And most of the time you just need one of these two, and rarely would you need myself in this kind of construction where myself is with another pronoun or noun. Okay, so just watch out for that. This comes across as slang in some ways. And then we have reciprocal pronouns, our second category. As mentioned, there are just two of these, and they mean pretty much the same thing. So what reciprocal pronouns do is they refer back to something typically earlier in the sentence. So in this case, we have those dishes, and in the second instance, we have they. And then we have one another refers back to they, and each other refers back to dishes. Okay. Now, these pronouns, the set of pronouns, refers to actions that happen in kind. They are returned in kind. And we can also think of this word reciprocal as something that's reciprocated. So reciprocated, the verb, means that something is returned. An action has a corresponding action to it, something like that. And so we can see how in the first instance, those dishes, multiple dishes here, they complement each other. Each other refers to the dishes working together or having an effect on each other. And in the second instance, one another refers back to they. And again, there's that kind of reciprocal action. So love is a nice instance of this because love should be reciprocal. If it's just one way, then I suppose it's not really love. Or maybe it's just obsession. I'm not sure. Okay, so those are two sets of pronouns. Fairly small categories, but it's very useful to know about them so you can find them in a sentence.